For this year's Haunted Basement, I proposed to recreate my family's living room, basically. I had found a film that my mother had given me about a decade ago in a bag of 8mm films that was really, really scary. And it depicts my dad and his brothers basically on a Sunday afternoon with their wives and their kids in my family's living room, and they are drinking alcohol and they're playing, mocking, shooting each other with a loaded pistol while their wives and kids sit nearby. And so the film sort of pans around and shows them pretending to shoot each other in the face and shoot the cameraman, and it was just it's a really shocking piece of Americana, and I showed it a few times in Brooklyn, New York, where I lived, at some found footage festivals, and it always really shocked and awed the audience. And so when I was prompted to maybe participate this year in the Haunted Basement, I kind of thought I really wanted to do something with that film. And so I basically made a multimedia installation. You walk into the environment, and it was sort of like an outdoorsy area with a faux house facade, and there's a portion of the film that's projecting onto the wall that is of them shooting shotguns and Tommy guns off of a bridge in the woods. It'll be dark, and so it'll just be the projection. You approach the room and you walk in, and it's kind of really a replicated environment of what's being projected on the wall, the film itself. So, and then the actors sort of recreated that situation, and I suppose added a bunch of their own spice to the situation. But you can really develop some really great dialogue that works for you and the people that are in this room together. The actors, I tried to get costumes that somewhat, looked like what the people in the film were wearing, and so they, tried to somewhat look like the characters that were portrayed in the film. And then they just sort of took on these roles of like domestic abuse and partying and that kind of thing. And so there was a starter pistol also included in the environment, and so when patrons would walk through, there'd be a lot of fighting and arguing and partying, and the pistol would go off, and so that would be sort of a exclamation point to the experience.
Make this camera work right.
And to not go into detail to protect people that are still living, that are in the film, it definitely there was a foreshadowed traumatic event that occurred in my family that was never spoke of. And so I didn't really know some of the details of that until I saw the film. I just know that one of the people in the film didn't look like that. And so when I saw the film and I saw that person looked fine, I realized that something really awful had happened. That's as much as I know. It's incredibly disturbing to encounter domestic violence that closely in a living room setting, and so I think that it's something that maybe burned into some people's heads because it's something that happens in real life, and a lot of us have either experienced it or witnessed it or known somebody who is experiencing it, and it's very upsetting. So I think that it touched a real fear that some people probably could relate to better than others. It actually was filmed probably about 6 years before I was born, and thankfully much of that behavior had sort of cooled out by the time I came along. So, I didn't have a lot of experience with that, so I'm very grateful for that.